Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Yes, as promised. Yeah, definitely a promise. You're not getting away with it. We've got another 2 Hussars. As I've said, every time I do 2, I'll put a video up. I know, you're more or less seeing, well, you're definitely seeing with the riders the same stuff. I can't help that. There isn't a lot I can do to change, like a campaign type feel to the riders. I suppose I could have put some patches on them, Cavaney's patches, but no, I'm happy with where I've gone with these. The horses obviously changed slightly. I'm obviously, as I said to you guys, I don't write a recipe down for the horses. I should start doing as my memory keeps failing, but I tend to have an idea of where I keep obviously things in my head, and I have an idea where I'm going to go with the paintbrush. What I like to do is, because I'm not following an exact formula, each one is slightly different because I don't get the paint mixes the same. I don't even use the same paint sometimes, even though I'm trying to do the same. So, almost replicate a horse that I've already done earlier. So you have seen the horses in the sense of, just like these guys here, I'm working on another 2. As I get to the completion stage, I'll start working on the main horses, just to see where I want to go with those, and because that's where the main difference lies with these, is just the horses really. I've said it on a couple of comments. I think of this whole project, it's been the horses I've enjoyed doing the most. I'm finally happy, I think. I'm not saying with the smaller scale horses, but with 28mm, I think I'm finally happy where it's taken how many years, but I'm finally happy with where I am with them, if that makes sense. I'm still useless at greys and whites, and I've got one to do obviously for the musician, the trumpeter. That's Archie. What have you brought? Have you brought anything in? Oh, you brought your dummy. Put his training dummy in with him. Sorry, I digress. But yeah, I'm still not brilliant on whites and greys. I will use the same underpainting method that I've used on these. I'm calling it underpainting. I've said it before. That's just something I'm calling it. Basically I'm doing lots of dots and squiggles and dashes and clumps on top of a base coat or 2, and then, yes, thank you Archie, get you a pair of slippers, or 4 slippers. And then I put very thin colours over the top of them. I have, as I said to you guys, I'm hoping to do the officer at the very end, well, the officer and the musician, but the officers will be not the, I doubt I'll paint the rider on camera. If there's a big call for it, I suppose I would do, but other than that, I'll just be painting the horse, but just to try and get over to you how I've described it a lot of times, but in case people just want to see it in action. It won't be a minute by minute, it will be paint a section of the horse, then move on. Otherwise it's, what my video, I can make this video, which is supposed to be like 5-10 minutes, and end up as 20 minutes. Well, you know what my painting videos are like, they've gone for hours. So yeah, but just to give you a rough idea, if you wanted to do the same yourself. As I say, it's not a quick method. If you're just wanting to put units and units on a tabletop, it might not be a method that you, even though you might like it, it might not be a method time-wise that you're prepared to put into it. For collecting, painting units and collecting them for a cabinet, or just for, like me, for a box to open up and have a look at occasionally, if you've got the time to do that, for me, it makes the horses look nice and slightly individual. Right, let's go to the bench and have a quick look. Right, here's another 2. We'll show you the other horses in a minute. So here they are together. A bay again, light colour bay as I call it, chestnut. As I say, the chestnut, I said it on the last video when I just showed them as, they'd more or less just been painted horses then. This chestnut was actually going to be a bay, and because I've already got a chestnut in the same horse pose, and it just, I wasn't happy with the colour, and it just shows that just by, you don't have to put like even layers of paint on, just changing thin layers of paint over the top, you can change something that, all right, it wasn't obviously that colour, I was before that, but that's where it was going to. But just with a few swift changes, it went into a chestnut. Obviously, I hadn't done the tail or the socks or anything. As I say, because these bays will always have their brown, I call them socks. I mean, again, I'm not a horse person, but because they have the black socks on them, I always leave I was intending this to be a bay, so I'd left the socks, so I've ended up with yet another chestnut socked horse, but you know, never mind. So here's our guy again. Again, I've used stippling on the trousers. I've stippled on the horse blanket, not the jackets on this. I could do, but I was just going for different feel for different fabrics, if that makes sense. Yeah, I know it's this scale, but as I say, although these are up for sale when they're finished, I can put as much time as I want into them because they're technically mine until they're sold. So as I say, somebody gets a good deal because they get probably a lot higher standard than you would do from a casual eBay sell type thing. The bag on top of the Busby, you can't really see it, but that's been stippled as well. Might have to put a couple. It's showing a bit less shadowed there. I'm looking at the other one, and there is more shadow. It's just the lights are quite bright. But I may shadow those bags a bit more yet. We've got the usual white piping around the jacket. The leather reinforced overalls, as they called them then. So they are painted underneath. I've not gone for any obviously highlights and that because you're never going to see it, but I do paint them just in case it shows up. As I say, the lower half I tend to dry brush some green grey on, it just helps because I dry brush the base of the horse's legs as well, so it just shows a bit of a dust that's gone on there. Again, photographs at the end. And again, quality wise, they vary because I only use this video camera to take them on. I always like this pose. It's quite a nice pose that Perry's has sculpted. Again, I use the grey green on the. Oh, Anthony only said it the other day, and I've lost it again. But yeah, on that, should know I paint these for a living. It's just head problems. I can't retain stuff at short notice. But yeah, I like this colour of the bay as well. Again, English uniform with gold, brown, and other bits. It's a bit hard to say because I use so many different colours to just achieve a look. So there's our guys. As I say, there'll be photographs of them at the end, and we've got I've got another bay because I needed at least another one more. I didn't want just single horses. I wanted 2 or 3 of the same, roughly the same. I've used on this guy. Now this guy's got NATO black on this one. It's the other guy that's or has he? No, sorry. No, this one's got brown. Rubber brown on the socks, but again it'll all be changed because I've got to stipple the socks yet. There's loads of work to be done on yet. I'm happy with the main fur colour, skin colour, hair, isn't it, on a horse? I haven't done any work to the mane yet apart from a base coat. Just base coat on the horse harnesses. Use the same colour for the base on the carbine. That's mainly just because it'll get changed by so many different colours on there. It's just a base to work off really. The muzzle again will be greyed up a lot more. That's just obviously using the same colour to put a base down, just as a starting point really. And the same with the hooves. The hooves have got to be worked on obviously. Again, I've just gone literally all over to give a base colour. So yeah, that's a one. And this is the other guy. He has got NATO black on. So it's a very faded black, bit of blue in it as the main colour, as I haven't put the blue in. This, believe it or not, is a bay as well. And anybody says, "Oh, it's a chestnut." Well, obviously it's not chestnut. It's got black socks and a tail. But I do base these on photographs I look at. So obviously they're not 100%, but I've seen at least 3 or 4 pictures of this particular colour of bay. And I've done one previous, if you can remember from my other, I think it was for the very first video I ever did on these guys. So yeah, happy with that one as well. I've given him you lose some of the shine, obviously, as I've said to you guys, with this underpainting method and then washes and glazes over the top. You'll give it's actually quite a nice sheen to the horse, but obviously when I put my matte paint over it, it'll go matte. So you lose a tiny bit of the sheen on it, unfortunately. Yeah, there we go. Again, all loads of work to be done. Again, socks have just got a base coat on. They need to be stippled, and then 1 or 2 glazes and stuff put in areas where I want them to. I've deliberately kept them slightly thin in places, the colour, so some of the base colour is showing through slightly, because that's what I was looking on the horse in question. And obviously all the harness work's got to be done as well. So yeah, long way to go on those. I seem to be averaging about 2 a week, which, as I say, yeah, if you were trying to make a living doing that, I wouldn't bother. I just have the fun of painting them, and I get to, as I say, improve the household income if I make a sale. But I just enjoy painting them. And as I say, when they're what I call mine, in the sense of I'm not tied to what I'm doing on a commission or something, I can just go to town with what I want to do. So thank you very much for stopping by and taking a look. As I say, we've got obviously those 2 horses well on the way now. It'll probably take me, I'm not going to say, but to get the rest of the horse furniture painted up and that, you know, we've got another good couple of sessions on them yet, and all the other bits to the horse. Plus, then we've got to dig out 2 riders and get them on. I had been pinning these, and a couple of are still pinned, but I'd done such a bad job putting the pins in the right place. I went against what I'd normally do, and it's blown up in my face. So they are just glued down. But that was a shame, but never mind. We've got 4 to go after. Well, we've got the 2 obviously half painted examples, and then we've got 4 more to go. So 2 more troopers, and then the final 2 command. You know, because obviously there's no colour bearer in these, so we just got the officer and the trumpeter to go at the very end. And as I say, the officer, hopefully, at least, what I might do is go against what I've been doing. I'll paint the grey, because it's a completely different colour anyway. I'll paint the grey, paint the musician, and I'll paint the officer, so he's all ready to go. And then so at least I can show you him when I've finished painting the horse on camera. I can just pop the officer on and we can see him at the end, you know, this completed article. Now obviously we've got the basing as well to do, but no, they're coming along. They'll be getting their you know, bit by bit. The what do we call them? Warlord epic scale. As I say, I've got 1 more base completed. I'm a third of the way through another base, and then I've just got the command base to do after that. And obviously we'll have a show and tell. There's no point in me showing you more of those epics until the only difference would be the command stand. And as I'm doing that at the end, I think personally it's, you know, it's not really much more to show you. So you might as well see the epic when they're actually based and done. You know, we'll have a show and tell on that before these are done, and we move on to another project. I say I have got some French Hussars. Well, I've got 2 boxes. I've got French Hussars and another box of these guys. If I did these again, I'd obviously do a different unit, and they'd more than likely be in shakoes rather than these Busbys. But I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do another cavalry base yet, or do an infantry, you know, get a box of infantry. Might even get some metals, I'm not sure yet. They're probably going to be Napoleonic, it's just what. I got my books for doing some. As I say, I'm interested in painting up some French and British for the Egyptian campaign, but obviously I'm painting what I would call commercially at the moment, obviously to paint and sell. So I will probably, if I'm doing metals, it'll be a different type of unit, because obviously I've got to obviously try and sell them. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, waffle, Gav. Look after yourselves. What else have we got coming up? We'll be having an update on the USS Lexington, probably before we have an update on HMS Kent. And that's about it for now. Look after yourselves. Might have an unboxing as well to do at some stage, not model related, it'll be figure related, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Anyway, look after yourselves. Thank you very, very much for all your kind support and comments. I really do appreciate it. And we'll catch each other very soon on another video.